Hey guys, it's Vicky, and you're listening to the Tompkins Orchestra podcast.
And it's Rithik, and today we'll be discussing what it's like to be a piano player in orchestra. Today we're joined by Stanford.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be on this podcast.
Of course. Why don't you take a second to introduce yourself? What grade are you in and your instrument?
As you said
I
before,
wonder.
my name is Stanford. This year I'm a freshman at Tompkins, and I play the piano.
Wow. So what's that like?
Playing the piano, it's more of supporting the orchestra. You're not generally the main focus, but you're a critical part of the orchestra. I would say it's similar to how in a band, the drummer isn't referred to as the melody, but it is more of an important part that keeps the band together.
So, as we see in class often, pianos, they don't sit with the rest of us. They're more off to the back, and it's like they're so separated, it looks so lonely. What's it like back there in terms of the social aspect?
Well, pianos, there's very limited number of them, and because each one has distinct sounds and it's loud enough for just having one would be enough to overpower half an orchestra. Usually, each orchestra would be limited to one or two. So it is very rare to have more than one pianist per orchestra, which makes me very lucky to have a pianist alongside me in my orchestra.
Did you also do piano in middle school, and were you an orchestra over there, or is it something you picked up? You joined orchestra in high school is my question.
I think piano is more of a transition from a different instrument from middle school, because I would say the middle school programs for piano in orchestra, it's a lot less compared to than, say, the violins for middle school, because the pianos, there's a lot less number of people that are interested in piano for orchestra compared to just people who play piano for fun, per se. And I would say that I was a violinist in middle school, by the way. So transitioning from violin to piano is very different, because violin, you start off having most of the main lines and you gain most of the teacher's attention. But when you transition to piano, you have to be more self-conscious of what you do and how you spend your time.
What made you pick piano when you were moving into high school instead of continuing with violin?
I think I moved from violin to piano from middle school to high school because I think it was more enjoyable to be on the piano than the violin, because it provides a lot more attention than compared to a violin, because each violin, there's tens of violins in an orchestra and there's only one pianist. So I guess just because of that, it makes piano more enjoyable for me.
Because there's so few of you, and so few of you are good enough to make it to this sort of level, oftentimes we see you playing instruments that aren't piano on the keyboard, because there's no piano in most of the pieces that we play. Tell me about some of the other instruments, in quotes, that you've played.
I think piano isn't referred to as exactly piano in most of the Tompkins orchestras, but it is more of a filler term for all the other instruments that we can play to support the orchestra. I've played the celesta, which is a type of keyboard sound, and I think my other pianists have also played the bells, they played the triangle, and we even played the organ. So those are some instruments that we usually play.
Do you have one you prefer?
I think I would prefer more of classic person. I like just having the standard piano, and sometimes I like to have the drums on because the rhythm on the drums is really nice to go along with the orchestra, and I think it sounds really nice.
It's actually kind of funny because one of our pianists this year actually played one of those, I don't know what you call them. I think it's like a bongo or something.
Yeah.
For one of our pieces. It was really cool. It's a part where we stomp for the piece. It was for our very first concert. And along with the stomps, they got one of the pianists to play this drum at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very interesting for piano because you don't have to be forced to play the piano. We're more of a filler where we can support the orchestra in many different ways, because such as you said, the stomp, just because of the stomp, like sometimes the orchestra, it might be harder for the orchestra to play when they have to also stomp along with it. So the piano can help fill in for some of the other instruments, and we can play the drums and support you guys.
How do you approach being in an ensemble too? Because in an ensemble music, it's more of a classical piano. That's I was in a piano trio my sophomore year, and it was a lot of fun. How do you feel? What is your ensemble looking like this year?
This year, I'm in a piano duet with the other pianists in my orchestra, and I think personally, it's very fun to play large pieces, which might require multiple musicians to play, and only require us pianos to just require two people because both of our left and right hands can both play a bass line and a treble clef line.
It's a fun overlap of the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember in my freshman year there was one four hands piano piece that they played, and I thought it was really interesting. There's a couple online as well.
I think,
yeah.
as you said, the four hands pieces, there's a lot of variation because there's so many interesting harmonies involved with four hands pieces because there's a lot of opportunities that can be explored by using the four hands on the piano that can't be explored with other instruments. So I think, like some composers, they refer to it as primo and second, and they usually place more emphasis on the first, but the second is also very interesting because when they mesh both of the first and second lines together, it creates really interesting harmonies that can't be achieved on different instruments unless you have a larger ensemble.
Would you say there's like a set note limit, as in like that separates where the primo part is and where the second part is, or is it more of just like whatever happens to work out?
I think for piano four hands, there is a combined melody where the piano together is playing all of these different instruments. So we're both playing the melody and the accompaniment at the same time. So it's really interesting where sometimes your left hand will be playing the accompaniment and sometimes your right hand will be playing the melody, and both can be happening at the same time. So you wouldn't have to stick with two hands on both accompanying parts and two hands on melody.
That is interesting how you get to do both simultaneously, as opposed to like in my ensemble currently, it's mostly the first violin that gets all the fun with the melody, and then every once in a while it'll come back to the cellos.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a big shift from the traditional string quartet I think it's often easy to, when you're listening to string quartets especially, it just seems like a first violin solo with a bunch of accompaniment, then occasionally the other people, and then it's back to the first violin. But I think it seems really interesting how the piano parts both have melodies, even though one is technically primo.
Yeah, I think because in a classic ensemble, they play more focus onto the first violins because usually the lower notes, they can't produce melody as loud and as, how would it say? More prominent, yeah. Because like the bass line is usually encompassed with, ideas of the supporting line or the backbone, but it isn't usually thought of as the melody, where otherwise as the violin, the first, as it is, they always get the melody, which is very interesting because it creates this dynamic where the cellos and basses are undervalued compared to the first violins, in my opinion. And I think that's not how it should be taken, and I think it should be taken similar to how the pianists, they have multiple melodies, but they can also do the accompaniment at the same time.
That is true. Sometimes I find myself, like when we played the Harry Potter piece for Masquerade, I played a Harry Potter mashup for Cambiata. Sometimes a little frustrated when I was like, the first violins get all the fun with all the melodies, but some of those accompaniment parts are actually a lot of fun to listen to and to hear how they overlay, because it wouldn't be the same without the accompaniment. It's interesting, where like you're not playing the part that everyone knows, but you're playing the part that makes it so good. You also did you do region in middle school?
Yes, I did violin region for middle school. I would say for future regioners out there, I think it's not that region isn't important. It's because that region's such a key experience in your middle school experience in orchestra. I think you should value it dearly because you only have 3 chances, and I think you should take advantage of each chance you get, and you should feel accomplished after each region, where it doesn't matter if you joined the region or didn't make it. I think if you can feel that you made an accomplishment where you have significantly improved from what you were to what you are now, I think that's very important for most regioners.
Yeah, I agree. What differences do you note from doing the region process as a violin and doing the region process as a piano?
Oh, this one's a very interesting one because I would say the violin experience, it's very difficult because there's hundreds of violinists every year that audition to be in region. And I think just because of all these people, I think it creates a very harsh environment for people where they believe that they can't make it. But for my year, this year in region, I think it was a very nice experience. There's not as many pianists as people believe there would be for region. This year, there were 10 pianists, and it was a good community because there's only 10 of us out there, which means we can all support each other. And because we all come from the same area, we all support each other. It doesn't matter if one of us doesn't get in, at least one of us gets in. And I think because of the limited number of pianists, it harbors a more harmonious community where most people would have to fight each other for chairs. In the piano world, it's different because there's only 2 chairs that need to be filled, and it's more likely that you will not get the chair. But just to be able to enjoy the piano community and just have the region piano experience of all of these great pianists being alongside you doing region piano is, I would say, better than region violin because I feel like region violin, it's a lot more stressful when you're practicing to know that there's hundreds of other people that are just aspiring to be like you.
Yeah. And just want to mention as someone that knows the cello, even though it is competitive, I think everyone still has a great community though. Because like everyone's like, I think the mood in the room especially, it's like everyone's just like goofing around and joking, and then we go there and we play and we're like locked in for just the like 2 minutes that we're playing total in like the 6 hours that we're there. And I think the same attitude applies. I think in middle school I felt it was a lot like more cutthroat.
Yeah, I think middle school there's more cutthroat opportunities where.
But then high school, it's like everyone kind of chilled out.
Yeah, everyone high school.
Yeah.
Region it's an experience now. It's not a competition. Right?
Yeah.
I think there's some interesting things about region piano that are different than region violin. Just because we can't bring our own instruments because piano is very large.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't think
we would
about that,
have
actually.
to. Usually, there's practice rooms that people set up. This is for future pianists out there who want to join high school piano. Region piano, it's more of you sit back and relax until some of the other instruments finish. And this year, we have to wait until the bass is finished playing until we could get on stage and actually start playing. It gave us a lot of free time per se. Like I don't know about you guys for region cello, but I'm assuming you guys wouldn't have much free time after the judges came in, and all 100 of you guys would have to sit there and patiently wait for your turn.
Yeah, and usually my freshman year there were 2 rooms. There was one like with like 60 people and one 30, and that was really nice because then like when they're at the other room, you just sit there and you talk to like 60 people, and it's a wonderful experience. But this time it's like everyone's in one room, and it's more like, obviously it's faster, which is nice, but it's like you don't get to talk as much, which is a bit annoying. But you know, as long as we get out faster, it's all right.
This is also your first year in Tompkins Orchestra in high school orchestra. And you're playing a whole different instrument than what you did in middle school, at least for the orchestra setting.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying it compared to middle school?
I would say piano in high school, it's a more unique experience because just because there's 2 of you doesn't mean you can't socialize with the orchestra, right?
Yeah.
Because just because you're a violinist, it gives you a lot of opportunities to socialize with other violinists, but being a piano doesn't limit you to just other pianos. I think just because you're a piano doesn't mean you can't go with other orchestra members and socialize with them.
I have kind of a silly question.
Yeah.
What are your playing tests like? Because you can't. It's kind of like a piano can't be out of tune, really. Like it wouldn't be the piano player's fault. I don't know. Like what is that like?
I think piano playing tests. I don't think they target tuning as much. Of course, because we can't tune. But I think there's other aspects of piano that are really important that I think the directors would like to focus upon. I think the number one is rhythm, because I would assume most people do not have orchestra piano experience until they reach high school, because playing in an orchestra for piano is much different than just being a solo pianist. I think because you have to stick with the rhythm in the orchestra and you have to adjust on the fly, it's much more difficult to be a pianist in an orchestra.
This is also another silly one. I remember last year, Miss Martz, we had a playing test for like an octave, a 3-octave scale, and the piano player did it and got 100, and it took 2 seconds. What is that like? Like, what are your like scales like, or how do you practice when it comes to piano? Because I start with like scales and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think for my warm up, I usually warm up with some sight reading. Well, I think it's personal preference based on how you warm up. You can of course do scales for every instrument, but I think for piano, scales are more of dexterity and more challenging of how do you control your fingers, where you have to hit every single note on the right rhythm, other than just having the tuning of each note is more important for piano. And I think for piano, there's more differences compared to violin, where the violin scale can't really compare to the piano scale, as the piano scales, they just target different things compared to violin, where you have to match the articulation and you have to match all the intonation, and it's much more complicated than piano.
yeah.
Do you have any quick advice, tips, anything like that for future piano players from someone who is a veteran of around 12 weeks?
I would say you should always go for piano if you have more enjoyment playing piano compared to just playing your other instrument, because I know some people where they're playing 2 instruments at the same time and they would prefer to just stick with one instrument. I think it was the same for me. I hit high school and I just realized I needed to decide which instrument I would stick with, because high school as an experience is a very busy time.
Yeah, it is. And you're just a freshman.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
Mhm.
Well, worse is in more opportunities. It's actually going to be pretty fun.
Right.
No. I had a really good time in high school.
Me too.
So I would say for future pianists, I would say you want to expand your community, where you want to be able to know most people in the orchestra and know the directors, because being a pianist, you have to go out and seek this opportunity compared to just other instruments where the director just signs you off and you go to do your audition. It's more unique where you have to take the initiative and go ask the director, hey, can I apply for piano? And I think just because of that, if you have a lot of enjoyment playing piano, I think it's worth trying to audition for piano, because as I said before, region and pianists in general, there's not many pianists overall in orchestras.
Yeah, it's different. You have maybe, would you say more opportunities as a piano player?
I would say from middle school to high school, the amount of piano opportunities you get astronomically increases. In middle school, the most you can do are events outside of your reach, where it's not usually school sponsored, and it's usually more difficult competitions where you might be facing people who are from different regions, and you might have to travel a lot more to go to competitions compared to some violin competitions.
There are a lot of violins
Yeah.
in the world. Some
Stop,
might say.
stop violence.
What did you just say?
Stop violence.
I love that meme.
Violence is bad.
That's so silly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem.
We're fun. It's really fun listening to you talk about piano, and you've just
It
been
is.
here 12 weeks. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just finished the second 6 weeks.
2 times 6 is 12.
Good job, Rithik. And then
That
this
was the
week,
hardest math problem
you're
I've done
going to be
all
here for
day.
18 weeks. And like the next 6 weeks. Isn't that kind of crazy?
I
Whoa.
think it's pretty interesting
That's like-
where I think piano, it feels like the time goes really slow for piano, because there's a lot more things you need to learn from going from usually a solo pianist to orchestra pianist.
Yeah.
And I think it's a warning to any other future pianists. Don't get discouraged, but orchestra pianist compared to a solo pianist, it's a much different experience overall. I would say it's comparing how you would read a book or writing a book. I think it's a much different experience, where if you're writing a book, there's a lot more skills you need to master compared to just reading a book where you can just read.
You're so wise, and you're just a freshman. This is actually, wow. What are you laughing at, Rithik?
His analogy was so funny.
Why was this analogy funny? This analogy was accurate.
It's so bad.
Have you ever tried writing after reading, huh?
That's nothing like piano.
It's a terrible analogy. Not gonna.
I don't think it was
No,
terrible.
I was gonna say it was competitive math, but I don't think anyone gets it.
Competitive math. Talk about that. What do you mean?
No, because competitive math, you have to do more problem solving compared to just regular math where you would just grind out problems on paper and hopefully you solve it.
I was wrong. I would be bad at it either way.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so bad at math.
I think competitive math there's
Lies!
more there's more problem solving skills where you need to deduce based on logic compared to all the information that maybe a teacher would give you on a quiz.
Yeah. My teachers did not give me a lot of information on quizzes. I didn't do great on those, actually. It's kind of a sore subject.
Well, that was so sad. No, yeah, I think competition math. I did it as well in middle school. Quit in high school because I had other plans.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like competition math is really just something that really like pushes you to the max. I think in a sense, at least for cello, it's kind of the other way around. I feel like orchestra is just what the teacher gives you. That's what you do normally, and then competition math is more like region orchestra or like all state orchestra, where you're stretching yourselves to the absolute max, and even if you don't make it, you gain a lot, which is the same for competition math.
I think there's a crucial piece of advice for most pianists out there who are still young and still have plenty of time to go.
You're so old.
Hey, they still have plenty of time until high school, and I think probably the most important advice is usually you would be going in blind for orchestra piano. So I would say just enjoy the experience because no one usually gets to have the high school piano experience, and every single high school piano experience is different because maybe some years there's no pianist, and some years there might be a great community of pianists to support you. So I think the high school piano experience is so unique that I think you should just enjoy it and just take it along for the ride.
That's wonderful.
That's great. I think piano's beautiful sometimes.
I think in conclusion, where piano, don't take it too seriously. Piano, it's a fun experience and you should enjoy it. And don't be sad if you don't make piano, because I think piano, there's a lot more opportunities to go into orchestra piano than you might think.
Yeah, it's definitely unique too, because there's like a whole orchestra, and as you said, 1 or 2 pianos at most within that. Maybe 3 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Or 4 if you're really lucky.
What is your favorite individual note on the piano?
I think my favorite individual note is the highest note on the piano.
Why?
It's just really annoying because most of the time, because it sounds like someone's ringtone, right? When you usually you could.
Could you give us an example right now? Like, is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, something like it's just like a really like it's like sounds like a bell, and if you keep pressing the high C, it just really sounds like a bell that's ringing. And I think it really pisses people off because.
So as you can see, he's in the gremlin business.
The gremlin business.
Yeah.
Don't feed him after midnight. I forgot about the gremlin movie.
No problem.
They used to scare me a lot when I was little. Have you ever watched the Gremlins?
Scam you?
Scare me. It used to scare me a lot when I was little.
Oh.
Did you ever watch the Gremlins?
Too young.
Too young.
I don't think I've ever
The
watched
Gremlins.
it
This is like an old movie from like the 80s or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I grew up on 2000 stuff.
Oh.
Shrek was
Yeah.
probably my first movie.
Shrek?
Vicky grew up on stuff from the 60s.
Why are you saying that?
Because you're old.
I'm not. It's like a 1-year difference.
She's a senior.
Okay, you know what?
She's
Podcast
done.
over. Podcast over. Say goodbye, Stanford.
Well, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Oh, he's being nice. This is a lot of fun.
No problem.
Thank you for agreeing to come on. It's really fun to hear you talk. You have so much wisdom, even though you're just like a freshman.
Thanks for having me. It's been an honor, man. You had some great insights. It's the first time actually talking to a piano. Like I have friends. I have friends, but it's more
I have
like,
friends who are pianos, more than Rithik. I have a lot of piano friends, actually. I have like 20, maybe.
Yeah, she has all the pianos. Anyway, yeah.
Yep.
It's been great having you.
Yep.
I've never really talked to anyone about the piano experience, and I think it's great. Informed a lot of our people. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you for informing the people.
For the people, by the people. I forgot how it goes.
What is wrong with you?
My bad.
You fun?
Yeah. Thank you.